Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Comic Hall, live from San Diego. No, not really, I know. This is my basement. I call my basement San Diego for this week. But no, I'm not in San Diego, actually. Actually, I feel kind of miserable today. But I figured all my 3 viewers would love to see me do my stuff. So here I am this week with this week's Comic Hall. A lot of stuff going on from San Diego. That's not what you're here for. You're here to see the comics that I bought this week and to try to get you guys to go to your little comic book store if you're not in San Diego. If you want to find out about all the stuff that's going on in San Diego, including the latest with James Gunn and new trailers and new comic book ideas and stuff like that, check out my other show, Dylan Knows, tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m., where I will do a breakdown of everything that we have learned in San Diego over the last couple of days, and probably will learn a little bit tomorrow, which hasn't been announced yet, but probably will be by the time I do my show. Surprisingly, this week's haul is honestly not that impressive. I hate to say that because I love comics, but there really isn't anything in there that's making me jump for joy. Or so excited about. After the last couple of weeks, we've had some exciting stuff. This week was sort of a downer week, a little bit. My opinion, obviously. There are a lot of other books that came out this week that I didn't buy. I've really been starting to cut back, really, and I cut back a lot this week, too. But still, one thing popped up that pushed me right back to where I didn't want to be, but I had to own it. But here's this week's haul, including a trade paperback, which we'll talk about in a second. First up from DC, we have Batman number 51, the aftermath of the, spoiler alert, non-wedding that happened between Batman and Catwoman. Has Tom King and Lee Weeks basically doing a courtroom drama with Bruce Wayne. And we also get the return. Actually, I want to show you this. This is pretty cool. We also get the return of Dick Batman. Batman, since he's doing jury duty for this case, has Dick going out and doing research for him and protecting Gotham as Batman. And it looks like a very interesting story. I can't wait to read it because it's dealing with the aftermath of Batman and how he's Hello? That must have been something else. Reacting to the loss of Catwoman in his life. So, should be interesting. That looks good, but it doesn't have that oomph, you know? Same with this. Justice League number 4 by Scott Snyder, Jorge Jimenez, who has now drawn 3 issues of Justice League to Jim Cheung's 1. Look, I love Jim Cheung and I love Jorge Jimenez, but you know, why don't you just make Jorge Jimenez the artist, because he will consistently get you a monthly book out on time and make it look good. Jim Cheung's artwork looks good, but he has joined a list of a lot of other artists, including Ivan Reyes and a few others I can't think of the top of my head right now, who do 1 issue. Brian Sook is another one. Do 1 issue and then don't do another one for like 10 issues because it takes them that long to do a book, and that needs to change. So Scott Snyder's doing some crazy stuff with Justice League. The one thing that I am excited about next week is this book right here, Justice League Dark, will be out next week, so that'll be something to look forward to. But Justice League number 4 is out this week. When Scott Snyder first joined DC, this was the pitch he threw at them, the new challengers, and he's finally writing it, but he has assistants in writing it. It is, actually, they're all at the end. It is written by Scott Snyder and Aaron Gillespie, with art by Andy Kubert and V. Ken Marion, with inks by Klaus Janson and Sandu Floria. So you get 2 different artists, 2 writers, 2 different inkers. And it's a book about the new challengers, which has always been interesting and is what Snyder wanted to do when he first came in. Beginning a new story arc, Batwoman number 17. Batwoman, from what I thought, was going to be canceled, which is interesting because they just announced on the CW that she will be getting her own series on the CW, so maybe they gave it a stay of execution. But Marguerite Bennett is writer. Artist is Fernando Blanco. And we're getting a little bit into weird Doom Patrol-esque type of stuff now, it looks like. Plus, we get the return of Renee Montoya, who was a former lover of Batwoman's, I believe, and that is rumored to lead to the return of Question. So we will see what happens. So Batwoman number 17 is out and still going strong. Green Lantern's number 51. Dan Jurgens is now the new writer on it, and from what I've read somewhere, he's going to try to focus more on a Green Lantern Corps book, which obsesses me because I wanted to keep reading about Jessica and Simon, but I guess since your regular book is getting canceled, I guess you have to jump on one other book that's still going on. So Dan Jurgens is writer, Mike Perkins is artist, and they're still going to play a big role in it. And then there's some news about Green Lantern, which I'll get to tomorrow on my show, and it just makes me go, okay. But we'll discuss that later on. This also comes out next week, so next week might be a more interesting week, so we'll see. But for now, Green Lantern number 51 is up. The final issue of the Brave and the Bold, volumes number 6, Wonder Woman and Batman by Liam Sharp, writer and artist, doing some sort of weird Lord of the Rings story with Wonder Woman and Batman. It looks pretty. I haven't fully read the series yet, so we'll have to take a look at it and see, in the end what it's like. But it looks very pretty, and it just seems like kind of a bizarre story to have Batman involved in. Wonder Woman I can understand, but Batman, well, we'll see. Sorry, my stomach is a little off, so soda helps a little bit. That's it for DC. This book I might read. I got it mostly from my wife because she's a big fan of it from Marvel. This is The Life of Captain Marvel number 1. This is basically like Captain Marvel Year 1, basically a primer for when her movie comes out next year. It's written by, where are you? Where is the creative team here? I think it's, here it is. Writer Margaret Stoll, penciler present day Carlos Pacheco, inker present day Rafael Fonteres, artist during the flashback sequences is Marguerite Sauvage. Carlos Pacheco has always been a good artist, and Marguerite Sauvage, I like her flashbacks as well. So it's like a Captain Marvel Year 1, and I might read this just to get myself fully back on with what's going on with Captain Marvel in advance of her movie coming out. Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man number 307. Pretty much, Chip Zdarsky is writing a pretty good story, introduced a new wrinkle to the Spider-Man story, introducing his sister. It was revealed that it is his real biological sister, and I was hoping Chip Zdarsky was going to look at that a little bit more, but spoiler alert, this is her last issue for the foreseeable future being in this book. Written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Adam Kubert, inks by Juan Frigeri. So it would have been nice to see the sisters, sister and brother, the siblings reconnect. But so there's that. That's it for Marvel. From Independence, we have Magic Order number 2, which is Netflix's branch of comics they're doing with Mark Millar. They also announced all of the stuff they'll be doing with Mark Millar. I'm going to have to find that and reveal that to you guys tomorrow on my show. But this is the Magic Order comic. It's written by Mark Millar with art by Oliver Coipel. Something interesting, I didn't buy Kick-Ass number 5 or 6. It's the last Kick-Ass issue that Millar is writing. He is turning over the reins to somebody else. So I don't know what's going on with that, but this looks pretty, and it's about magic, and it's a pretty cool variant cover. I like that. So there's that. Skyward number 4. Skyward has been picked up for a TV show, I think, or animated movie or something. So you might want to pick up this book while you're getting it. It's very pretty. Art by Joe Henderson, art by Lee Garbett. It's a really interesting premise, very interesting heroine, and definitely a different take on superheroes. So worth a look on that. Gideon Falls, this may be my last issue of it. I just bought it because I've always loved Lemire and Sorrentino together, Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. They do a wonderful job together when they work together, and it's a horror mystery type of thing. So we'll see what happens. I may keep going with it. I don't know, but I haven't read any of them yet, but it looks good, and I've always liked them together. Finally, we have Shadow Man number 5. Shadow Man is really the only Valiant that I read and was one of my favorites back when Valiant first came out. This one is written by Andy Diggle with art by Doug Braithwaite. Looks like it's a flashback to a previous incarnation of Shadow Man. So it's an interesting character and a good premise. I like it. So that's it for the comics. Just that alone, I was doing a really good job with, keeping the cost down and stuff like that. Then I stupidly, last week when I showed this first issue last week of new miniseries, I stupidly decided I should get back into this series. And I knew I'd had some of the issues that I missed, but I think I had missed some of them also. But then they said, oh yeah, the trade's going to come out. It's only going to be $20. So I said, okay, you know what? I already have the first 2 trades of the series. Why don't I just get the third one just to complete the series? So League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Century trade paperback comes out this week, written by Alan Moore with art by Kevin O'Neill. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is Alan Moore's, I don't know if it's love letter, because honestly, I don't know if Alan Moore loves anything, but to English literature, characters. He pulls characters, situations, locations, scenarios out of his butt, you'd think, but he's actually taken them from actual English literature that is so obscure that most people don't know about, that they have books about the what's the word I'm thinking of? Not anecdotes, indentations of it, which tells you what is what, and you understand everything. Go to Wikipedia. They have a pretty good description of the series, because they have the links to what he's talking about, the characters and the situations. Now, Alan Moore does not shy away from nudity or sex, so I'm skipping a few pages in here because there is nudity and sex in this. This also is a bit of a downer for Harry Potter fans, because, spoiler alert, turns out the big bad in this turns out to be a Harry Potter-esque character. We also get to travel through the psychedelic 60s and into present day and stuff like that. It's, an interesting scenario. But as I said, lots of sex, lots of nudity, lots of adult situations, lots of words, stuff like that. So, and also some of his prose stories. Oops, that has a nude lady in it. Some of his prose stories are in here as well. So you're going to have to do some actual reading of literature as well. So all in all, that's what that is. But as I said, lots of sex, lots of nudity and violence, but it is League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and it is an extraordinary piece of literature, considering all of the English literature he's able to cram into a comic story. So there's that. So that's it for this week. As I said, nothing extraordinarily. As I said, next week, Justice League Dark, Action 1001 are the marquee books that I can think of. There's probably 1 or 2 that I'm missing that are also coming out next week, but those are the 2 big ones off the top of my head that might make it a more exciting week, as it were. So despite that haul, as I said, that's not everything. There's new Harley Quinn out. I think there's a new Wonder Woman out this week. There's new Hal Jordan, I think. Or was that last week? Regardless, I don't know. But there's some other new stuff out that I haven't gotten. As I said, new Kick-Ass is out this week. Stuff that I'm no longer buying anymore. And some other interesting looking possibilities for new series. There's always new series out there all the time. So I'm going to end this as I always do. Go to your local comic book store, particularly this weekend, because I've seen two so far in my area, my store and another one in the area, which are doing not going to San Diego sales, and they're huge. My store is doing 50% off of all Marvel and DC trade paperbacks, 60% off of all independent trade paperbacks, and then I think there's like a 20% off of other stuff, toys and stuff, and back issues. And I think the dollar bins are going to be $25 now. That's just my store. And then I saw another one. I didn't fully read what their stuff is, but it's along the similar lines. So go to your local comic book store. If you don't know where your local comic book store is, go to your search engine, type in Comic Shop Locator Service or CSLS. Click on the search engine. When you see the first couple bubbles, click on the first one you see that says Comic Shop Locator Service. Bang, it'll take you to the CSLS website. On the side here will be a box. You type your zip code in. You type that in there. Boom, it'll send you all the comic book stores within about a 20-mile radius of your house, including links to their websites, pictures, directions, whatever you need to know where the stuff is. So I would recommend doing that if you don't know where your comic book store is. If you do know where your comic book store is, definitely go in there this weekend. Check out any sales they might have. As I said, multiple stores I've seen so far having not going to San Diego sales. This is a good week for that. It's the only week you can really do it, honestly. So, definitely check that out. So fans of comics, come back here tomorrow, 9:30 p.m., and check out my new episode of Dylan Knows. A lot of stuff from San Diego, including what DC's main books are going to look like in the fall, is going to absolutely blow your mind. This fallout from the James Gunn firing on Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is, to me, an absurd story, but we'll get into that as well. Talk about trailers for new TV shows, movies, Doctor Who trailer, Walking Dead trailers for the new seasons are coming up. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about my new favorite movie, In Good Company. I saw that today while I was resting up, and I loved it. Hopefully next weekend I'll have to get in touch with them. MJ Khan will be back on here for our comic book show. We're going to try to go see, my wife and family are going to try to go see Ant-Man the Wasp on Sunday. So we'll have the review for that, and we'll also have more of the fallout from San Diego and James Gunn stuff. So plus it's only Friday. San Diego has 2 more days to go, so there's probably going to be a lot more stuff jumping out. I think the first Aquaman trailer is going to be out tomorrow. So we'll be discussing that. And if it comes out in time tomorrow, I'll probably be discussing it on my show as well. So check that out. Go to your local comic book store. Check stuff out. It's July 20th. It is the 49th anniversary of the moon landing. So go out, take a look at the moon tonight, and also wish my stepmother, Yvonne, a happy birthday. It's her birthday day. And my brother-in-law's, Adam's, birthday is tomorrow. So hang on for that. Tomorrow, for Pokemon Go fans, is Zapdos Day. Don't forget, from 2 to 5, Zapdos will be the raid boss at every gym for 3 hours. That's not comic related, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. See you tomorrow. And read comics. Go to your comic store.